Great things are done by impulse, but by a series of small things brought together. Vincent van Gogh. Good evening, one and all. Respected dignitaries, esteemed speaker of the day, Engineer Antony Prince, KMA members, and my dear students.
I am Achut Chandra M, and we have
Needu Tracia.
we will be the master of ceremony for today's program. Let's start the program by invoking the blessings of the Lord Almighty. I request everyone to rise for the silent prayer.
Thank you, everyone. Now let's begin the program. Now I welcome Mr. Algiers Khalid, Vice President KMA, for the welcome address and introduction of the speaker.
President Vivek, esteemed chief guest of the evening, Engineer Antony Prince, Secretary, Honorary Secretary Dr. Anil Joseph, past presidents, managing committee members, student chapter members, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and a very happy new year to everyone. Let me at the very outset wish a wonderful 2025 for all those present here today and for your dear and near ones. On behalf of Kerala Management Association, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to this first Inspire Series session of 2025 and 33rd program of KMA this year under the able leadership of our President Vivek Punuran. Today, we will surpass the record of the second highest program of KMA year in the recent history. Please give President Vivek Punuran a lot of applause. However, as promised last month, the best is yet to come starting from today. The program committee is thrilled to kickstart this year with an engaging and inspiring session focused on the Cochin miracle, how strategic management sparked Kerala's most remarkable industrial transformation. At KMA, we strive to create platforms that empower young managers and ignite ideas and inspire excellence. Tonight's session is a testament to this mission as we shall delve into the transformational journey of Kerala's industrial landscape through the lens of leadership. It is my proud privilege to introduce our esteemed speaker for the evening, a visionary leader and a legend in the global maritime and engineering sector, Engineer Antony Prince. I vividly remember hearing him address at one event in 2012, 12 years back, when I was invited for a function of a social organization and was not only inspired by his talk, but also felt proud of the great things happening in our city and in our state. Ever since that, I have been a proponent of positivity and positivity in and around us. From then on, the name Prince lingered around my mind. Even though I had no other opportunity to meet or connect with him after that meeting in 2012. Then, on 23rd April 2024, at the wedding of Parvati, daughter of Mr. Madhu S. Nair, Chairman Managing Director of Cochin Shipyard, I had a chance encounter with the Inspirer. I walked into a group of 4 people standing around and talking. 3 of them I knew personally. So wishing them, I turned to the 4th person, a tall personality, and extended my right hand to greet and introduce myself as Algiers. At that time, Mr. Baby Matthew was standing there. He asked me, Algiers ne Prince ne arille. That triggered a fond memory of the one and only Prince that I have ever met and encountered in my life. I immediately curiously, ship design ano? And after an affirmative answer, I delightfully mentioned that I was looking for him for the last 12 years. And I immediately asked for his business card, and the same evening I emailed to him asking him to share his inspiration journey to KMM members. He promptly replied and said that he's traveling the very next day and promised to address during his next visit to Cochin. I pursued that promise and followed it up, and today we are honored to have with us and get inspired by Cochin Miracle, Mr. Antony Prince, affectionately known as Kaplude Rajakumaran, hails from my hometown Alua and is a proud alumnus of TKM College of Engineering. His illustrious career began with the Shipping Corporation of India as a marine engineer, where he rose to second engineer. From there, his journey took him to Dockendale Shipping Company, Nassau in Bahamas, and eventually to GTR Campbell Japan Limited, where he became the president in 1986. His leadership has been instrumental in significant achievements, including successful ship design of Fantasy in 1994. Engineer Antony Prince's contribution to Cochin Shipyard between 2003 and 2007 are particularly noteworthy, as he played a pivotal role in enhancing his international reputation. In 2007, he founded Smart Engineering and Design Solutions Limited in Cochin, a globally recognized ship design firm that competes with industry leaders. He currently serves as its president and as the president and CEO of GTR Campbell Marine Consultants Limited, a highly esteemed international marine consultancy with an 80-year legacy. Engineer Prince has been honored with numerous accolades, including Tangalakunju Musliar Award for Lifetime Achievement and the National Maritime Foundation Excellence Award. In 2007, the Cochin Shipyard Employees Union recognized him for an exceptional contribution to the shipbuilding sector. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have the unique opportunity to hear from a leader whose journey exemplifies vision, resilience, and strategic innovation. He will share his valuable insights on how strategic management stimulates one of Kerala's most remarkable industrial transformation. He is also, I wanted to share that very interesting thing which I came to know now, that he also owns 3,000 hectares of land in Canada and raised 2,000 cattle there and making it a profitable operation in Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm welcome to Engineer Antony Prince. Before we invite Engineer Antony Prince for his address, let me request President Bibu Noran for his presidential address and share his thoughts. Once again, a warm welcome to each one of you, especially to the past presidents and the managing committee members and student chapter members. Have a truly inspired and fantastic 2025 ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anjas Kale. Now I welcome Mr. Bibu B. Punuran, President of KMA, to give the presidential address.
Good evening, everyone. Chief guest of the evening, Mr. Antony Prince, Vice President and Program Committee Chair, Mr. Algis Khalid, Honorary Secretary, Mr. Anil Joseph, Past President Nirmala, Dilip Narayana Committee Member, Dr. Rosemary Prince, daughter of Mr. Prince Antony, dear students, dear KMA members, and all gathered here. First of all, let me wish all of you a happy and prosperous new year. As was mentioned by Mr. Algiers, our Vice President, we've entered our new year with a bang because we have been lucky to get Mr. Prince to address address us today evening. So every new beginning with a very good speaker at KMA marks it even more hailed for us as we are just getting into the convention mode right now. And I think probably this is going to be, we will not be having a program next week, and we will be going in for our convention on the 16th and 17th of this month. As not only as president, as the, what do you call it, one of his senior son, I'm indeed really glad that I can address all of you today, because as soon as Mr. Prince came in, he was telling me his connection with my father and what happened, or he was telling me even before Anil Joseph came in, both our fathers were his senior at the TKM College of Engineering. So that indeed is a proud moment for me to stand here before you as one of both of our father's friends. And again, there is another reason for us to be proud today, because this is the Inspire series, and there should have been more students, but then being the beginning of the year and most of the students being on leave, and most of the other young entrepreneurs also not in town because of the holiday mood. The idea behind the Inspire series per se, sir, for your information, is to inspire young people, young management students, young entrepreneurs to come up in life and take the journey of success by hearing inspirational stories such as that of Mr. Prince Antony. I think his parents should have named him. I was just thinking when Algiers was introducing him, the name Prince is not what should have been. It should have been King, but I don't think people name people King. So, because he is the king, he is, like he said, Kappalinde Rajakumaran is how he is known as. And there's another interesting story, or I think, sir, you can clarify as later on as you speak, because he is instrumental in changing the landscape of Kerala to a great extent. As we all know, last year when we had the convention, we had started something called a Celebrate Success series, when I was luckily the chair for the convention, and we had 3 public sector inspiring stories, successful public sectors from Kerala, which the public could not, or the rest of India or the world could not actually take it in. And so we had the Cochin shipyard, the CMD of Cochin shipyard addressing us. One among them, one was FACT, and our senior vice president, Mr. Hari Kumar, who was the managing director of TCC. All these turnaround companies which were in the red, which have come into making huge profits and getting huge orders. And the success behind the Cochin shipyard per se can be owed largely to our king of shipping, Mr. Prince Antony, because from what I read and what I understood, when the shipyard was going through a very rough patch, he came in, designed ships, and asked the shipyard to start constructing. And I believe he also went into a truce with the agitating shipyard workers. And you've just heard from our program committee chair that the shipyard workers themselves honored him. So in a state that is, or rather was known for agitating labor, everything was peaceful. The shipyard turned around. The shipyard got, I believe, several orders due to his credit, but then maintaining all the stringent controls, and that was the beginning of the turnaround for the Cochin shipyard, if I have understood it right. I'm sure that Mr. Prince is going to clarify more of that. And for you students sitting here, I would say, please listen to such inspiring stories and please be motivated, because our own state has got lots and lots of opportunities, and you should not be running away from our state. You can become entrepreneurs in our place, and you can really succeed. Yeah, now, so I wouldn't want to keep you away from our great speaker of the day. And before I end, I would also request any of your members here who have not registered for our annual management convention, the KMAC, Kerala Management Annual Convention. This time also we have made it international. We are getting 2 success stories, and we are actually celebrating the success of 2 youngsters through our KMA YM, the Young Minds program. They're both from abroad, and we are having also an international speaker coming in, who's the executive director of the Dubai Ports Authority. So all this combined together for 2 days at the Grand Hyatt is definitely going to be an enriching convention again, and I request all of you to kindly register for that, for those of you who have not registered. So with this, once again, let me express my gratitude to all of you for having come here on this, the first day of, or the first session for this year. And once again, I would like to thank the team out here, the managing committee team, because Mr. Algiers was giving all the credit to me. Actually, I don't deserve any credit because all the programs have been shortlisted, all the speakers, like he said, he identifies the speakers, brings them, the team does the work, and I take the credit. So that should not be it. Please give your big hands to all our managing committee members, especially Mr. Algiers Khalid, who is the program committee chair. Thank you once again. Have a great evening and look forward to listening from our great king of shipping. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I welcome Engineer Antony Prince, our esteemed chief guest, to address the gathering.
Mr. Bibu Punuran, Mr. Algiers Khalid, Dr. Anil Joseph, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I think the introduction probably exceeded what I am really is, but with some humility, I will accept what has been introduced to you about me. I think I was born in Alvey, and then my dad moved to Cochin, where I had my initial schooling, and then he came back to Ernakulam, and I did my schooling at St. Albert's and college at St. Albert's also. That was in 1962, a long time ago, and I was listening to a speech by Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru at the college grounds. And what he was trying to say is that young people should become engineers, because our country has got independence, and from an agricultural economy, we are moving into an industrial economy, and we need more engineers. So I'm a pre-independence child, and at that time, because we had not got the independence, the spirit of independence was in all of us, and I was very patriotic, and I wanted to become an engineer. And fortunately, I got the opportunity to join TKM College of Engineering in 1963, and I completed my engineering in 1968, mechanical engineering. But by 1966, 67, 68, the situation in India had become very, very bad for engineers. There was almost 60,000 engineers unemployed at that time. So even if you get a job as a lower division clerk, you would consider it is a great opportunity. It was that bad. I had decided at that time that somewhere or other, I am not going to remain unemployed. So I started investigating together with a senior of mine about the opportunities, 2 of the seniors, and I found out civil service is one way of finding a career for an engineer. And that year, Indian Forest Service also had been introduced, so there was an additional opportunity. And then I found that there was potential for mechanical and electrical engineers to become marine engineers with a 1-year training in a shipyard or an approved boat trust. And then finally, I put up a board as a consulting engineer and started looking for work. So I didn't want to remain unemployed. But much before I could write the civil service exam, I got calls from 2 shipping companies, Shipping Corporation of India and Ratnakar Shipping Company, as a trainee marine engineer. So I joined Shipping Corporation of India and started my training at Garden Reach Workshop, which is today Garden Reach Shipbuilders. So it was a 12-month training, and after 7 months of my training, the management decided to send me on a ship because there was turbo shortage. And all this time, I was excited of going out to sea, being a very young person, seeing the world and all the opportunities. So I joined the ship, I sailed, and we need at least 18 months of sea service before you can write the examination to become a second engineer on the ship, or a second class certificate, as we say. So on the 19th month I got off and I wrote the exam and I passed. But I had 6.5 months of vacation credit due to me by that time, both my privilege leave and study leave, etc. So I went up and surrendered that leave and a promotion from a 4th engineer to a 2nd engineer, and told the management, I want to be posted in a shipyard where you are building one of your new ships. Because that was the time the ships were changing from manually controlled ships to automated ships. So they were very happy that somebody like me come up and ask them for that opportunity. So they said, just put everything in writing, and I did. And I went home, stayed for 6.5 months without a call. So then and there I decided I'm only a number in the company, not a person. So I came back, I was promoted as 2nd engineer of the biggest oil tanker, which was only 11 months old, but I had resigned by that point of time. I sailed, and throughout my career in the company and on the last assignment, I had very good references, and so the management knew me to some extent. So they called me back to Bombay to change my mind. But I was decided that I will not continue. Not because of any reason, it really pained me to leave Shipping Corporation, which gave me an opportunity, but it will not take me to where I want. I'm explaining these things, probably some of you students, you will face the same thing in your life when you come to a turning point or a crossroad and you don't know what decision to take. I hope you'll pick up something from here. And while I was on the ship itself, I had applied to 52 companies, including the company that I'm presently working for an opportunity similar to what I asked Shipping Corporation of India. I did not know very much about this company, but they offered me this position to be on a ship under construction in Tokyo, Japan, and then to sail with the ship. So I took up the assignment and I sailed. I sailed as a 3rd engineer, and within 6 months I was promoted as a 2nd engineer. And I sailed for 2 years non-stop because I had to put in another 18 months before I can qualify to write for the 1st class examination or chief engineer's exam. At that point, I had a change of mind. I said, at probably 27, 28, I will get my 1st class certificate and I'll be a chief engineer. And unless you have 10 or 12 years experience as chief engineer, it was not possible to get a job ashore in an office. So I said, those 10 years I'll miss my family, my children. Not only that, at the age of 27, you get about $3,500 tax-free salary, and you are the chief engineer of a plant that is worth 30 or 40 million dollars. You'll have an ego that big, you'll be an alcoholic, you'll miss your family. So I said, that's it. I quit sea. I've learned enough of practical engineering. But after 1 year of sailing with that company, the founder of the company, George Thomas Richardson Campbell, GTR Campbell, a legendary naval architect from Canada, he came on the ship to inspect the ship. Little did I know at that time he also owned the ship, you see. But it was one of the prototypes of a series of ships. And while having lunch, I blabbered out and said, this is a good design, but there is room for improvement. Little realizing I'm talking to a legendary figure in ship design. But when the lunch finished, he said, I want to go around the ship and I'll take a look at the ship. So the captain and the chief engineer offered to accompany him, our second engineer. He said, no. He said, this young man will follow me, nobody else. So I followed him, and with the same immaturity, I blabbered. I said, this could be changed like that, this could be changed like that, or whatever modification can be done. This is from operation, from maintenance, from various aspects. So he was really taken aback, I'm not sure, and then we went to the engine room, which is my world, and I completely gave him a picture of different layout in the engine room and why. So at the end of the day, he said, okay, you put everything in writing through proper channel and send it to the owners. I said, fine. So I did my recommendation. I forgot about it. But 10 years later, when I was going through the old files, I saw a memo written by him about that visit. And that day, he had decided that I should stay in the company. He had sent to my director at that point of time. But I never thought at 28 or 29 I will get a shore job in GTR Campbell. So he tried to persuade me to do my chief's exam, and I will be a chief engineer the next day. But that still didn't solve my coming to the office, which at least I must have 10 years experience as chief engineer. So I decided not to even write the exam. But then my older brother said, you're stupid, you should write the exam. It's an insurance policy. Someday you want to go back to sea, you will not pass the exam. So please take it. So I went to England again. I wrote the exam. And when I was about to write the exam, they said, you are not qualified to write the exam because the exam has got two parts, part A and part B. Part A being theoretical subjects and part B being the practical subjects. He said the degree that you got in India is not recognized in England, and therefore you have to write both exams or go back to India. So I called my mother, as all of us do when we are in such difficulties, and I said, I don't have much choice, I have to come back to India and write the exam. Then he said, no, you're not coming back. You're writing both exams. To show them that schools and colleges in India really don't give a degree without you properly qualifying, So I ended up doing both exams in the same week. One of the very, very few people who does that one. And I passed the exam. And then my mother said, come home, you've been away for 3 years. So I packed my bags and came home. And the next day I got a call, the ship is in Chennai, you are the chief engineer, we don't want to hear anything from you. So I packed my bags, went to Chennai, became chief engineer. And a year later, I got married, and there was no ships at that point of time for me to go back to Campbell, because the two ships that we had at that time was given out on a long-term charter. So, and I asked my wife, do you want to sail? She said, oh, I'd love to, you know. So there was a company who was pursuing me all the time to join them. It's a Moroccan company. So I joined that company and sailed as chief engineer along with my wife. Casablanca was our home port, so very romantic, and all over Europe. Then Campbell called me and said, come to Japan, you are being appointed as a surveyor. So that's how I ended up in Japan with my wife and my young daughter. And there, within a very short time, I became in charge of the entire shipyard. And we had 5 shipyards where ships were under construction. And in 1986, I became the president of GTR Campbell Japan. And in 1989, he stepped down for me, and I became the president of GTR Campbell International. So that was the time he said, our children were growing like Japanese, going to Japanese school and speaking Japanese and everything. He said, Japanese will never accept them as Japanese. This is not the country for the kids to grow up. Go to Canada. That is the most immigrant-friendly country. I myself is an immigrant from England, and I made home. So that is where he had 3,000 acres of land and 2,000 heads of cattle, which he loved, which was his hobby. And my mission was to sell it, because it was losing money like anything, it was not proper. Then he had built a factory that was to build agricultural machinery using the same common sense we use in ship design. So that was job number 2. Then I was running the consulting company as the president of the consulting company. Then we had a ship owning company where in the Bahamas, where I was the vice president, and once the children's education is completed, I was to move to Bahamas and take over that company. So I had 4 or 5 companies to run with very different aspects. So while I reduced my focus on the marine consulting business because I had another job waiting for me, guaranteed, you know, and I decided to look at the other operations. So I got the factory that was built in 1972, and this is 1990. I got it started manufacturing doors, because Canada is a very cold country, and we need to close everything. And fortunately, I met a very good design engineer who owned a door factory which went bankrupt. Joining with him, I started manufacturing doors. And the doors that we make were costing about $250,000, because that's for airport hangars, huge doors, and do multi-blade doors and things like that. So that was running well. And then the farm. Then I looked at it and used a bit common sense. I wouldn't go into that detail because then I'll occupy all your evening. But it turned out to be a very profitable business afterwards. So much so, the agriculture department from Canada, from Quebec, then approached me to tell them how I made a loss-making sector of the industry or the agriculture to profitable without subsidy. You know. So you know, all these things, underlying thing is not really the expertise in the subject matter, but it is management. You know, you take the resources, what is available to you, and manage it differently. That's simple secret. Cochin is no different. I did not change the social system. I did not bust any unions. I didn't change the infrastructure. I didn't have any new management team. With existing social system, existing conditions, found out the best way to manage. So that is what is more important. So when that was all going on, then I made a design, a ship of the future, even while sitting in the farm, running the farm. And one day, 2 ship owners was visiting a Japanese shipyard, wanted to buy a design from that shipyard, and they sent me the details and asked me to comment on it. So I told him I'm out of touch with shipping, give me a couple of days before I come back. He said, no, you have to come back right now, we are sitting in the shipyard, we have to make up our mind. So I made a techno-commercial analysis of that design, and concluding, I gave an executive summary. I said, this is a ship of the past, you should go for the ship of the future. So they said, excellent, your techno-commercial evaluation is very convincing, we are dropping the deal, but please propose the ship of the future. So fortunately, I had a 28-page specification and a general arrangement plan, which is a key drawing in any ship design, which I faxed. Those days there were no internet. So the two owners got it and they said, excellent, this is the dream ship, but it's going to cost us $25 million to build that ship, and at that price we cannot break even. So I know it will break even at $22 million. So I told them, suppose I found you an opportunity for 22 million, will you be interested? So they said, don't even ask us, sign. So I got this opportunity. So this is what I want to touch, another point. Luck is what you make. Being prepared when opportunity strikes is luck. Okay? It is not something coming from somewhere or your stars or whatever it is. But you make your luck. So that's the biggest break I got in my life, because the shoes I had to step in was of a man who had nearly 600 ships to his credit, big shoes. And nobody is going to easily accept me as a ship designer, especially with the color of my skin, because it is very difficult. But this particular design was liked by two ship owners, so they supported me. To cut the story short, I contracted those ships in China because the Japanese will not accept me as a successor of Mr. Campbell and producing the subsequent designs. I said, those people till then was listening to me for a lot of things. So China made a big difference. The design was judged as the real ship of the future in a particular sector by research firms, Lloyd's, everybody. So suddenly the 2-ship order became 12 ship orders, one design became 10 designs, 200 ships, things like that. So while I was really the king in China, and I had nearly 65 ships on order, call comes from K.A. Verghese, my senior, and his brother K.A. Cherian. He says, they are said, the next time you come back for a vacation, there may not be a Cochin shipyard. You know, you better do something. So I thought, sin of omission is the biggest sin. I had everything that is required to help the shipyard. Because when you talk about that, you have to generate orders for the ship. That's the job of a ship broker. It's a separate class of people in our industry who connects the shipyards to ship owners. Then you have to have a ship design. That ship design has to be matured in order for the shipyard to get into production. You cannot have a new design and a new ship order and wait for 12 months to start the project. Then various other things. You need material, you need project management, you need to have and a good shipyard and things like that. But anyway, I said, let me try. So I made an offer to Cochin shipyard. And before making the order, I went up to the ship owner, who used to always tease me, says, when are you going to build a ship for me in India? I said, you have to wait, time has not come. So when this opportunity came, I walked up to him, and he had asked me to build 30 ships of that design He said, only you can give the ships to other people after you give 30 ships to me. So I said, here is an opportunity that has come to build in India, are you interested? And he said, you make an offer and give me a copy. That's exactly his words. Took less than 5 minutes. Then he said, I have one question to you. This is in the second-hand market. There are no Indian built ships. How do I know how the ship-owning community will accept an Indian built ship? I said, you got me there. I cannot answer you. That's a fact of life. Time will tell. Okay? But we'll try to make a good ship for you. So I packed my bags and I came, and none of my employees or my staff or my colleagues who are of Indian origin will come with me. My senior managers refused to come to me. My own guru told me, you're a smart fellow, but this is going to be your biggest mistake in life. Then I land here, my relatives and friends says, you may be manhandled, you may be hurt, you may be even killed. You better go back. This is not Japan or China or anything like that. I was a proud Malayali, I always felt whenever I heard that nothing is possible in Kerala, I always felt that's not right. There's a lot of things that is possible. So then I made my first visit to Cochin shipyard. Along with my wife and my son, only 2 people who supported me with this adventure. So we were very fortunate that Madhu S. Nair, a very young naval architect at that time, the assistant manager of marketing, came around to show us the shipyard. And we went around the shipyard, and I asked Madhu, tell me, why you are not able to build ships? You have a beautiful shipyard, facilities. You people are trained in IHI Japan. When I was there. So they said, it's like this. We don't have orders. The orders we get is from shipping operation of India or some Indian shipping company. We really don't have a reputation. And we really don't have an infrastructure in India with the equipment, steel, material, design, everything. So it's very tough. We try to depend on some shipyard in Japan to supply us the design. By the time we get the design, it's an outdated design. And when we try to get an order, we have to complete the design, which takes a year and a half. Then we have to procure all the materials by tender. That takes a year and a half. Then while we construct, we face a lot of problems with the owners, which are also bureaucrats from SCI and other government PSUs. So it will take about 4.5 years, and we complete a ship in 3.5 years. So I said, with those kind of restrictions, I won't even think of building ships, you see. So we have to find answers to all these things. So I said, Madhu, I'll bring you the orders. 8 ships, not 1 ship, at least 8 ships. And I'll give you a complete design, because this design has been already built in China. So we have complete design. And it's up to you to accept or not, because production methods change from shipyard to shipyard. So your first delay of getting orders is gone. The second delay of getting the design is gone. I said, I'll give you a full package of material. You don't have to tender. It will be costing $10 million per ship. You can put that 10 million as material cost and cost your ship. So you would not have wasted taxpayers' money or anything like that. No tendering of material. And I said, I'll put in my best project management team in the shipyard. Any technical problems, I will resolve within 8 hours. And if I cannot resolve, the delay is on me and not on you. Any commercial problems, I'll settle within 24 hours. And any delay, if I cannot resolve, that is on me and not on you. On that basis, can we talk? And if the numbers match, you have contracts. Luckily, the numbers matched. It was $1 million more than what we paid in China for the same ship at that time. But we had room for that one, and I had the freedom to use that. Because though there are a lot of difficulties in India to build ship. And everything went like clockwork. We signed the contract, and I think again I have to bring in Institute of Marine Engineers invited me. That is the time I came in December of 2003. K. Varghese was the president, and that was the time the shipping secretary was there, the chairman of Cochin Shipyard, Commodore Murthy was there, and they put up this question to me whether I would give any orders, and I told him I didn't come to attend this meeting, I actually come to order the ships. Tomorrow we'll be seeing, you know. So that was the beginning of this whole topic of. But unknowing to me, the seeds of success was planted some 11 years ago. That was when Malayalam Manorama interviewed me in 1992 with the topic of shipyard, Cochin Shipyard. The question they posed to me was, isn't all the problems of Cochin Shipyard are due to the labor, to the workers? Why? Is because this worker going to Singapore or to Dubai is performing so well, but here it doesn't work, you know. So that was the main topic, and that was the theme of their article that they wanted to. So I told them, your question has answer. Do you think that this person learned shipbuilding in 4 hours sitting in the airplane? No, he knows shipbuilding. So that's clear. Do you think he's a lazy person? If he's a lazy person, he's a lazy person everywhere. He's a very hardworking person. So what is missing? Missing is the environment to work, the opportunity to work. If you don't have that opportunity, how can you work? That opportunity lies with the management, not with the workers, you know. So we have to find out the management of the shipyard and getting the orders. And then you see that our people, whether they are working or not. I said, I'm confident. Seeing the Malayalis going outside India, outside Kerala, working so hard and performing, they will also work if they are given the right opportunity, right environment. So that article continued where I gave all the solutions, and one of the solutions was multiple ship order constructed in a series basis where you can overcome the learning curve and reach a very high level of productivity. It cannot be achieved by one-off orders. You build one tanker, one bulk carrier, or one other ship. You'll never reach that one. Now, the union took that points and made as their manifesto, unknowing to me. I did not know. So when I first appeared in Cochin Shipyard, the labor leaders came and approached me. And they had a serious doubt because my name is not an Indian sounding name, it happened to be an English name. So they said, are you the same person who wrote that article in Malayalam Manorama? And are you the same person who's standing in front of us? I said, I'm the same person. He said, normally a Malayali will never say a good thing about another Malayali. So we thought it was a foreigner who pointed out. I said, anyway. So, sir, we have adopted your points as our manifesto. And this is exactly we should be doing. We completely agree with what you're doing. So I said, I brought this environment, the circumstances that I talked about in that article. Are you ready to work? I said, you sign, sir, we will work. And they did. So I told them that they could not take 8-ship order because they had the aircraft carrier steel cutting has to take place 3 or 4 years down the line. So they were worried if they took too many ships, then they will miss the opportunity for the aircraft carrier. So they said they'll take 2 ships, 4 ships. I said 6 ships or nothing. So they were kind of forced to take 6 ships. And I said the catch is that you have to deliver them in 3.5 years. Now, in the 31-year history of the shipyard at that point of time, only 13 ships were built. 31 years, 13 ships. And here is 6 ships in 3.5 years. Cut the story short, putting me to shame, these management and these workers of Cochin shipyard delivered 6 ships in 3 years and 2 months. So it's a perfect sync of 2 sides, you know, and the result came out automatically. But at every stage of the process, we faced a lot of problems. And those challenges, I would say, were common to the industry, but it has to be handled by the shipyard, who's the builder and seller of the ship. Once the ship owner has signed a shipbuilding contract, that's it. But during the time, the material cost went up, the steel price went up by $4 million on the 6-ship project. And that was a big problem for shipyard. Being a PSU, they'll have to stop everything. The whole project has to be declared a failure before the government will allow them additional $4 million to be invested to complete the project and things like that. So knowing the culture, that is also very important. Now this is not business. So to the management students, this is what I have to tell you, that a manager has to be not only aware of the management principles, but also the social system, the culture, various aspects. I think that is very important. So I told the ship owner, they have to give $4 million more to the shipyard, otherwise they will not be able to progress. He said, are you out of your mind? You know? But we ended up paying the $4 million. Now you wonder why I did all those things. And then later on also they got money for some material they didn't expect to be supplied, which also been paid. So the first ship was a little bit late, maybe a month or so. And Hari Raj, our chief operating officer, started as a young naval architect in that team. So he knows all the story. He really lived it through. And Vivek is his classmate, and he joined again later. So at every stage of the process, you have to know all these things, and then act accordingly. That is what has happened in the case of shipyard. Performed extremely well. You know, they were an unpolished gem. You know, the right combination, they shine, and you can see their growth after that. And we had a very open communication, and whenever the problems came, we sat down and solved it. And we never allowed any problem to be delayed more than 7 days, because every Saturday we had a project meeting in which we recognized the delays that has taken place, just to be caught up within the next 7 days. So we had the bull by the horn. What has happened, so all these delays accumulate in normally other projects, and then we cannot catch up on the, so during the construction we faced various challenges, and one of the challenge was manufacturing hatch covers of the ship, which is a very simple thing. It's like a box cover to cover the cargo hold, but because it's made with very thin steel, and because a lot of heat input goes in, unless you control the heat input and unless you control the sequence of welding, it will become like a banana. So we have told them, we have forewarned them, but yet, Malayali pride is always there. We know everything, So they didn't listen, and they ended up in a banana. So they came running to me. Not only that, we messed up, we lost the material, we delayed the project and everything. I told, don't worry, we'll find a thing. So I had a Polish engineer and had a Chinese engineer in my team who were hatch cover experts. So I brought both of them here in Cochin, showed them how to manufacture a hatch cover properly, and we even salvaged the hatch cover we thought we lost. But it is because of the openness and the acceptance and going beyond your ego and pride, the good teamwork that really helped to achieve this kind of a progress. So numerous things happened on a daily basis, but the best thing was the first ship was launched on time that we declared at the beginning. Now that has never happened in the history of Cochin Shipyard. No ship has been launched the time we declared. So everybody was happy except a few people. So they came around, and then I talked to them and I said, why are you not happy? You seem to be not very happy. He said, sir, you outsmarted us. I said, how did I outsmart you? He says, you know that well. No chairman sitting inside the shipyard was able to launch a ship on time. But you, sitting outside, you might be able to manage. You boxed us because we ran out of excuses. If it is design, it is available. If it is material, it is available. If it is to be the inspection, that is available. We have no excuses. That's how you managed. So again, it's a management. Otherwise, we tried to tell them and tried to make them do something, it will not be possible. But did you find out all the excuses that they may find in doing their job? They could not. They were really boxed. But they recognized, we laughed it out and everything. And on the day the ship was launched, I took out the last page of most circulated Malayalam and English newspapers in Kerala. On a white page, I had one word, Nani, and two logos. And in very small font, our gratitude thanks to the workers and management of Cochin Shipyard for launching the ship on time. Now, I think that one action had probably the biggest value. Suddenly, the world came to know that Cochin Shipyard workers are not parasites. They are really hard workers. And I think there is one thing that the workers appreciated. And we gave a box of sweets and a card, again Nani, to all the people, starting from the sweeper to the CMD, to make them part of the project. And prior to that, the families were invited and shown what their fathers or brothers or sisters were doing in the shipyard. So there was an ownership and a belonging by the shipyard people. They started taking pride in the product and pride in the work, and even the family started getting influenced. So I think that really motivated the people, and we started recognizing people who made innovations, good suggestions, savings, and they were heard. So first time in their life, they were heard, they were recognized, and they were publicly recognized. So the whole morale of the shipyard went really way up. So that's why they finished the ship 4 months ahead. and the ships used to be delayed for years in its previous history. When they delivered the ships 120 days ahead of time, by the grace of God, the shipping market had hit the roof. What we used to get $10,000 a day as rent of the ship has shot up to $40,000 a day as rent. Okay? So in 120 days, we made a windfall profit of $4.8 million. Okay? And we had no obligation to pay any early delivery bonus in our contract. So I decided this might be a God-given opportunity to make this transformation. Let us reward the workers for their hard work and show them that if you work hard, you will get rewarded. So I negotiated $5,000 a day for 120 days. That is a total of $600,000, $6 lakh as bonus to the workers. Once the workers understood that their work is recognized and they are compensated, there's no turning back. And then came the aircraft carrier project. So the entire shipyard team was really charged to accept this aircraft carrier project. They were well prepared. This was only a preparation for taking up this big job. So that project went up, and it is a pride of all of us that right here in Cochin, we have built the aircraft carrier. It's gratifying for me that my contributions and my little efforts paid off. So when all these things happened and everybody was happy, I was saying bye-bye. I said, no, I'll go back to my world where I had several projects. I told them one thing, all this euphoria will die down with my departure, unfortunately, whatever is there, unless you have design, your own design, and your own cutting edge design. Nobody's going to order anything. You will be again begging and borrowing and stealing design if you want to get an order. So the first and foremost thing is to build up a ship design capability in merchant ships. Fortunately, our Navy is very visionary. They built up naval ship design capabilities, which is very unique. You know, not many navies had that at that point of time of countries that got independence and things like that. But on the merchant ship side, we lacked the ability and capacity to do that. So this was year 2007, and I went back with this message to them that please start a design company. But there was no one to start a design company. There was a lot of pressure on me to do something. So I ended up starting a design company with 2 people, you know. And today we have 150 people, and we have produced several designs. And the very first design we did was for our China client, Chinese shipyard, and the clients from Europe, about carrier design, which went very well. Then there was a project for fast patrol vessels from Indian Coast Guard, which Cochin Shipyard wanted to participate, and they asked whether we could help them out with the design, which was very nice of them. The same way I trusted them, they trusted me that I will deliver. So that was a L1 project. As you know, that's the lowest price tender. And shipyard was crying and saying that we are going to lose money. And we said, okay, let's sit down and find a way to do this project. We provided them concept to production design, the entire design package. Those 20 ships were built and delivered 11 months ahead of schedule. So much so, ships were lying here for 6 months without crew, because the Coast Guard never expected these ships to be delivered even on time. They said maybe 2-3 years later they will get these ships. You see. So you can see how shipyard, on their skills, both management and engineering skills, and started becoming an efficient shipyard, a smart shipyard, you know. Then we suddenly got a call on the day of Vishu, and that particular Vishu we had given extended vacation to all our team. People had booked their holiday travel. Suddenly I get a call from Madhunaya, says we have got this 4-ship passenger ship order, but we have no design, you know, and we have to sign the contract in a week's time, and we need a design. And the design is not a standard design, it's a design that is required by the Andaman and Nicobar administration. Can you help us? I said, sure, we'll try to. So I canceled the vacation of my senior managers, and a team of 8 people flew to Mumbai, sat with the Shipping Corporation of India, who was the technical advisors of Andaman and Nicobar administration. We made a design, we made a specification, we signed a contract. See, this is the kind of partnership that is required in shipbuilding. It's not only design is a major component. Similarly, there are so many stakeholders that makes a shipyard. Shipyard is only an integrator. You know, when you say they source different things from different people and integrate and deliver it as a ship. So you need to have a very good supporting infrastructure for a shipyard to grow. It's the ecosystem. So that is there. So then we have done the 8 anti-submarine corvette design for Indian Navy together with Cochin shipyard, and we are now providing designs for Coventry shipyard, which is a major defense shipyard. We brought the similar bulk carrier multi-purpose vessel design. The design is developed in Kakinada here, which was actually judged as the most outstanding design of that class by the Germans. And we competed against German designers and won that. So we are very proud of that fact, because in its class, it's the best ship. And we have a project with Mascon Talks Limited. Again, they are entering into commercial shipbuilding. They requested our assistance. We brought the orders. We gave them the design, and we are now guiding them on that project. We are involved with Hindustan Shipyard in the fleet support ship project, which is oil tankers for the Indian Navy, 5 of them. The project is worth about $2.5 billion. And originally the Turkish were to provide the design, and they worked for 3 years. And when the relationship between Turkey and India became not so good, the whole thing was cancelled. And we were nominated after proper investigation as a design partner. We signed the contract early January 2024, and today we have already fabricated 4,000 tons of steel. That's the speed at which. At the same time I gave 6 orders, I also gave 4 orders in Hindustan Shipyard, which was also, it was in a worse condition than Cochin Shipyard, and that was their turning point. In similar drawing, design, material, everything was given there also. So that's a long and short story. I probably would leave the rest for your question and answer session, where your specific questions. I think I've covered basically. So all in all, it is not about the subject matter knowledge of naval architecture or marine engineering or ship design or shipbuilding. It is, if you look at the bottom of it, it's all about management. How, with the given resources, given social system, given limitations, how you can bring a project, a successful project out. That's all about it. And today, similarly, we have now become a global standard ship design house from nothing in a matter of 17 years. Our designs are respected and recognized around the world. The proof of it is that European owners are ordering ships based on our design that is built in Coconut. Okay? So that's the message I want to send to young people in the crowd. I'm sure the veterans sitting here, for them it's a boring talk, they have gone through it. But for all of you young people, this is my message. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for that insightful speech.
I can see.
Now the stage is open for Q&A session.
I think I will start. Sir, in India we have a very good ecosystem for light engineering products, especially automobile and automobile steel forging, automobile manufacturing. On the heavy engineering side, what was the reason for this being a laggard to rest of the world? What was behind? Why did not pick up like the light engineering, like automobile?
Thank you. While automobile engineering is known as the mother of light engineering, shipbuilding is known as the mother of the heavy engineering. So if you look at Japan, Korea, China, all their heavy engineering developed based on shipbuilding. Steel mills, pipe mills, casting shops, machining shops, shafting, propeller, everything is related to heavy engineering. But the heavy engineering did not grow because we did not have an end user for their products. So the end user is the shipbuilder. So once we have a healthy order book of ships, we need a lot of support from the heavy engineering sector. Fortunately, in India, the heavy engineering exists in a non-marine form. So marinizing these heavy industries first is the first step. Then we can have, as the order book increases, we can have purely marine-related, dedicated facilities for shipbuilding. So by that, what I'm saying is that an existing steel mill can produce marine steel in small quantities. But when the demand increases, probably an entire steel mill will be dedicated only to produce ship steel. Castings. We have barter, forge. We have so many heavy engineering companies in India. They are all capable of producing what is required for. But shipbuilding consumes a lot of heavy engineering material. So that's why our heavy engineering has not grown that. Now, I didn't touch upon something. The next 30 to 50 years is going to be a golden time in shipbuilding and shipping. That is because of two reasons. One is the natural demand due to growth of trade. You need an increased demand for ships. The other is regulatory requirements. As the legacy fuels are going to be phased out and the decarbonization targets are coming by 2050, we have to replace 50,000 ships. The entire world's capacity cannot meet. So for India, it's a golden time. So there is already a movement to reach 10% of the world order book by 2030. We have very good vision. We have very good policies. But when it comes to implementation, we lag behind. That's our problem. So I hope the Indian government has taken good notice of it. They are trying very hard. The Indian shipyards are also full now. The order books are full. You know, China has 47% of the world order book. 3 out of 4 ships built in the world today is built by Chinese. You know, so, and I started in China in 1993, where you almost carried things on your shoulder, you know. And I can see, if you see the growth of China, it is like that. And in every country, now in 1950, my boss went to Japan after the war and built up the Japanese shipbuilding industry. You know, the export shipbuilding contract is made by him, which is became the Japan Shipbuilders Association contract, Korean Shipbuilders Association contract, and the Chinese shipbuilding contract. So we know the Japanese growth, and we are personally involved in that growth. And in China, I was involved. And in Korea, we could not go because the Japanese did not want us to go. But otherwise, we have built several ships in Korea too. So here, you know, I have been telling you 20 years ago, you need a Sam Pitroda in shipbuilding. That is what we are lacking. Somebody who knows the requirements, because shipbuilding requires multiple ministries' approval and blessings, like a country like India. And to bring them all together and implement it. In Japan, there was a gentleman called Toshiba Toko, who was their star of their shipbuilding. And in China, it was Deng Xiaoping, you know, him. So I know firsthand how all these things took place, how the government facilitated the growth of shipbuilding. It will take a day to talk, but the thing is that I'm exposed firsthand in that growth, you know, where all these new shipyards come up. For example, there was a bankrupt shipyard, and the mayor called me and said that I should not cancel the contracts in that shipyard because I'll be pulling the rice plate in front of 2,000 workers. And the mayor said, there are 3 banks sitting here. You ask them for any money you require, but please don't cancel the orders. And that's the level of involvement. In another shipyard, it was a greenfield shipyard, and I was ready to order there, but I told them the shipyard cannot produce refund guarantees for $150 million. Where is he going to find the collateral for that? And so the mayor, we were actually sailing in his yacht, having dinner. He took me outside and he said, you see that island? I'm going to pledge this island and make sure that this shipyard gets the refund guarantees. Of course, what happened in China we cannot follow, but we can do a lot more things here. And so there's a lot of things that are involved. You know, the last 2 contracts we made with Mascon Dock and Garden Reach, we had a lot of interaction, you know, because the shipyards get used to the export contracts and how the ship owners behave, what bank guarantees they require, what refund guarantees they require, what insurance they require, and things like that. Arbitration, for example, you know. So if you sit with here saying that we are having Indian arbitration, no foreign ship owners going to come here. But you know, whereas Japan, China, Korea, everybody has taken a UK arbitration or a Singapore arbitration or a third country, you know. So things like that. There's a lot of things, and simultaneously we have to develop our maritime industry so that we produce our equipment, produce our engines, our generators, and all the things that we require. So it's a humongous job multiplier. For every shipyard job, there are 5 jobs outside. So the future is bright. It is India's if we are to take it. Thank you.
Sir, you talked about you just now talked that shipbuilding is the mother of heavy industries, and it has a lot of cascading effect on the economy. When you look at the history, whether it is Mitsubishi or the Daewoo or Samsung, all these brands are known for various things, but they originally were shipbuilders. They started as a shipbuilder and then now they are known for various other things. do you foresee Cochin shipyard become like that maybe after 20, 30 years?
Oh, sure, there's no doubt about it. Already Cochin shipyard is into cutting edge technology. They are already there. They have already started. For example, the fuel cell project, which is, we can say, the cutting edge of technology. We're trying to catch up with the rest of the world, but we have done well. Similarly, Cochin shipyard is into startups. Cochin shipyard is into various other developments, other projects and things like that. So I will not be surprised to see Cochin shipyard turning into another Daewoo or Samsung.
We will have the last two questions only, please, because of paucity of time.
Sir, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your inspirational speech. It really inspired us, especially your technical capability, management skill, and your leadership style. Actually, you really utilize the resources and motivate the team to get the maximum out of them. Who was or is your role model? To see, you had some motivation like that, right? To manage the team or utilize the resource. Who was your role model, or who is your role model?
I must say that I don't have one role model. I will probably have multiple role models, or I have taken certain part of a certain person's life and work style and mixed it together to my style of working. So I don't think I can attribute everything that I do to one person or two persons or something like that. But definitely George Campbell, who was my boss, and we worked 22 years together. He always says we worked against and not worked together, but we got along well, and I learned a lot of things from him, and I tried to pass it on to the next generation. Hari and Vivek, who are sitting here, are the leaders of the design company, and to great extent they have benefited from that one. But the question is, of course, you take the best out and then you add your color to it and go on. For example, I'll tell you, George Campbell never used a two-stroke engine in any of his ship design. He used a four-stroke engine. For the same power, the size and weight of the engine is much less than a two-stroke engine. That means the amount of cargo you can carry by weight and the amount of cargo you can carry by cubic is more when you use a four-stroke engine. But four-stroke engines are unforgiving engines. If it is not properly maintained, they break down. And the breakdown is not small. You have to change a crankshaft, cost you $1 million. So, but I sailed for 4 years without losing one crankshaft. So it depends on the maintenance of the engine. But as long as you have good engineers, it's okay. But one bad engineer means a major disaster. So when I started my design, I went to two-stroke engines. And I know it's a forgiving engine. It runs at a slow speed. So he must be turning in his grave, me breaking his fundamental rule of using the four-stroke engine and to a two-stroke engine. So this is where I changed and added my thing. So there were also difference of opinion with him on certain philosophies. So when I took charge, I changed that and I applied that. Okay. So you take the best out of everything and proceed, go on and add your color. Okay. Thank you.
Sir, one last question. You spoke with a lot of calmness and it was so much subtle, but it is no less than a superstar Bollywood or a Hollywood movie. A good round of applause to you for that. Thank you. Now, I could see, even though you were calm, I could see all the energy from your daughter's face. She was beaming and all of us were beaming as well. Now, my question to you is, you have traveled across, you have sailed, you have been with multiple corporations, companies, countries. what would be your recipe for a state like Kerala? Now, last year there were 3 speeches which was organized by our president, the Cochin shipyard and a couple of other companies, and that was a great turnaround. It was a great eye-opener for all of us. Now, with your experience, and of course EVs coming up, and there's a lot of change with the water metro coming up, a lot of green spots. But then, how can we cover it? What is your recipe for us, if you could send across to us?
Thank you. As I said earlier in the earlier part of my talk, heavy engineering manufacturing is not for Kerala. We don't have the resources for that one. And ours is a beautiful state, and we should not pollute it more. Although shipbuilding is a polluting industry, it is a lot of control has come to reduce that level of pollution. But first and foremost, I think for Kerala, a knowledge-based industry is the best thing. So we can enter into every field and become the research and development centers for aviation industry, marine industry, pharmaceutical industry. You take anything. This in Kerala is the best. We have the people with brain. We have the right environment for that. And definitely health and health-related matters is got huge possibilities. We can be the doctors and healthcare givers for the rest of the world. And you see the number of startups that are already started in Kerala. IT sector, that is a huge potential there. Food processing industries is another conversion of food processing industry. Light engineering industries like medical equipment, various other instrumentation. I just met 2 days ago a Japanese guy. He runs a 150-year-old Japanese company called Shindaso, and he is the managing director, and they're setting up a plant in Bangalore to manufacturing angiogram and various other medical equipment. So they see India as a huge potential, not only to finding workers and engineers, but also as a market. It can be ours, it can be in our state. And what I know that Kerala has changed. Kerala is changing. We have this perception of Kerala 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when we had a red flag everywhere. But that has changed. The government has also become friendly, the ecosystem has become friendly towards industries and things like that. We've been operating for the last 17 years in Kerala without being harassed by anyone. That's what nothing. So I cannot say. I don't have much dealings with the government, but I don't also have much harassment. And we have the best job pool in Kerala. So I think Kerala should go that way. Health, food, research and development, IT, all the artificial intelligence, machine learning, all these type of things that is coming up, we should give. So we must give maximum exposure developing those industries. And I understand that we are doing well in that sector. In fact, the head of Kerala Startup Mission, Anil Pampika, is an ex-TKM graduate and a close friend of mine. And the wonderful stories I hear from you on the progress that they are making. Thank you. Did I answer my question? Did I answer everybody's question? Yes. If I haven't cleared it enough, please let me know.
That was an informative and interactive session. Now I invite Dr. Anil Joseph, the Secretary of KMA, for the vote of thanks.
Friends, I'm very happy to welcome Mr. Ormistar again. Sir, kindly come to the front. He has been sitting in the back all along. Please be there, sir.
Former DGP of Kerala.
Yeah,
Former Chief of Police of Kerala.
Former Road Chief of, and he was a speaker with us, of India.
A friend of Prince.
Yeah. And Mr. Verghese, who, see, there are certain silent heroes all the time, and Mr. Verghese happens to be one among them. And as was mentioned by Mr. Antony Prince in the beginning of his speech, Mr. Verghese has been instrumental in turning the Cochin shipyard around, or in bringing in Mr. Antony Prince into Kerala for all this that has happened and what he has spoken about. He's doing a big round of applause. I would request both of you stalwarts to kindly come forward and hand over a memento to Mr. Antony Prince, please. This is a token of, the least token of gratitude that we can probably give to a stalwart like Mr. Antony Prince.
Thank you so much.
It's a great honor to have all the standards on stage.
Happy farmers.
I already told them that I heard that few things.
And both of them are great farmers also. That's
Good evening all, and I would like to start with a happy new year for everyone. And what an amazing story which we heard, really amazing. The Cochin miracle, the turnaround, because we have seen shipyard with all the red flags and this thing happening, and today we came across how it was transformed. And a couple of points which I would like to share with the youngsters to carry home is that start dreaming big. Instead of 1 or 6 or 12 in 31 years, the thought process of doing 6 ships in the span of 3.5 years was the, I feel, is the turning point. Dream big. And whenever you are there, when you have a subject, when our Prince, Antony Prince sir was young, he had the courage to talk out to the owner of the company. He was expressing his expressions, his thought process that this design can be changed like this. So that is another point which we have to keep in mind, because we always have sort of, when a leader talks, we always follow them. We don't want to contradict them, and especially we believe that if we do that, we will be in the long picture. But that was another big carry home package which I got it from this session today. So if you are sure, if you are convinced about engineering, like I am also a structural engineer by profession, and I always used to tell my people that if you are talking technically, even you can argue with God. You can argue with God if you are sure of your technical knowledge of what you are talking about. So you don't have to tell that the person has 30 or 40 years experience, he has done so much of credits, because there is always an innovative thought process, especially it was shown. And we were very proud that when this, I got goosebumps sitting that people from Europe and other places are looking for design coming out from Kerala to build their ships. It's really proud. I always keep telling that I always imagine, because we in the building industry, I always say we are 2 generations behind. America started building 100-story building in 1920s, and still India doesn't have 1 single-story building. And we are the largest population, going to be the 3rd largest economy. We don't have. So we need people like Antony Prince, who is in the building industry, to come to India and to make the changes and make us believe that we are capable of doing that. We do 60 or 70-story building and we believe that it's too high or a too complicated thing. Whereas people have grown much ahead. So it's almost 2 generations behind. So I always tell the story of Empire State Building, where they did the stone laying on 1929, March 30th, and completed after 367 days. They finished the job of 103-story building. In 1930, April 2nd, they inaugurated. We are 95 years after that, and still to do a building here, it takes so much of time to get it done. So that the movement of the development which has happened in the shipping industry. Thank you very much, sir. And let's do a big round of applause for the excellent lecture. So simply it was put across, everything was managed. It's not easy. There were challenges. But I had one question which I will ask later on. How did he manage that 4 million to do extra for a contract which is already signed to make sure that Cochin Shipyard comes out with a product? That I think I will get the answer after this, because already we are running short of time. But I just wanted to take this because it's a very, very, very inspiring story. The Cochin miracle exactly was put forward to us because we have seen it happening. And I'm very thankful for our past president, Nirmala Lily was here. Dilip, thank you very much for joining us. And all the members who have joined us today, Mr. Sir, all of you who joined us, thank you very much for joining us for this program. And I'm sure that all of you have takeaway points, because I had a long list and I was running short of time, so I am not taking much. But then I am carrying home many points, 6 to 7 points, which I have learned from today's exercise, today's session. And then coming to our programs, next week we don't have a program here. 16th and 17th we have the Kerala Management Convention happening at Grand Hyatt. Those who are not registered, please join us. We have a galaxy of people joining us and telling the story that things can happen, we can make it happen, because we always have negative energy. We always will see the Paraveku movie, where Mohanlal comes, start the bus, stop it and goes back. So we always have negative stories. So these are positive stories which change us. We'll have a galaxy of speakers who will be telling you about the positive things which we can look into. And on 24th of this month, we have Dr. Soumya Saminathan talking about the topic is, one second. Science, sustainable development and community empowerment, eco-restoration and eco-skilling of tribal youth, a real case presentation. Again, the most catchful word, and she's a very renowned speaker. So that is on 24th going to happen. Look forward to seeing you all in large numbers again for those sessions. And I always feel what I have to do in this management background. I came here to raise this building. It was tilting. And that was my job of doing this. It was tilting to one side, going down. So we raised it by 8 feet and corrected it. That was my job. I thought I got it over. But somehow it came to the committee. And now I look forward for the opportunity to come here and listen to these inspiring stories. Thank you very much, sir, once again. And thank you the entire team, KMA team, and the support team today who has helped us this program. Thank you very much and have a pleasant evening again. Thank you.
And all your permission, I'll take 1 minute. I told you about the question the ship owner asked me, only one question before placing the order. What would be the price of an Indian built ship in second-hand market? So when we delivered all the ships, the market had hit the roof. The ship that we ordered for 17 million, the price had shot up to $57 million. A single ship, a $40 million margin on a single ship. On 6 ships, $240 million. The story doesn't end there. I had built exactly the same ship to the same design under my supervision in China. Those ships were offered $52 million, $5 million less than the Cochin built ships. Exactly. So you can see the superiority and the quality of the Cochin built ship. So the ship owner put back his words. And he did not sell the Cochin built ships, but he sold the Chinese built ships. And that is where I had the leeway to take 4 million out.
Now I request everyone to rise for the national anthem.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे